If you're scrolling through endless specs wondering which laptop will actually let you get work done, game a little, and not feel like a paperweight in your bag, you're in the right place. The hesitation most of us feel is simple: we want something reliable, easy to live with, and worth the money, not just a machine that looks impressive on paper. You've probably heard the hype about 13-inch ultrabooks that can also double as a small desktop replacement. But the reality often ends up being a high-resolution screen that drains the battery in 2 hours, or a thin chassis that heats up when you push it beyond email. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review I'm going to break down exactly what the ASUS ProArt PX13 Copilot Plus does for you in real-life scenarios, who should consider it, and who can safely skip it. First, let's talk about the kind of day this laptop is built for. Imagine you're a freelance graphic designer who spends mornings polishing vector art on a color-accurate display, then heads to a client meeting where you need to pull up a quick 3D preview. Or picture a college student majoring in animation who wants a machine compact enough to carry between lectures, yet strong enough to render a short Unity scene without stalling. The ProArt PX13 tries to serve both worlds with its 13.3-inch 3K OLED touchscreen and an AMD Ryzen AI 9HX370 paired with an RTX 4050. The OLED panel actually shows a deep black and vibrant colors, which is a real advantage when you're checking gradients or working with HDR footage. That's not just marketing, it's the sort of visual fidelity you need to trust your work will look the same on other displays. Now, the processor and graphics combo deserves a bit more context. The Ryzen AI 9HX370 is a 12-core, 24-thread chip that leans heavily on AMD's AI acceleration for tasks like upscaling and image enhancement. In practice, this means your Photoshop Auto Enhance runs a fraction faster than on a typical mid-range laptop. Pair that with the RTX 4050 and you get hardware-accelerated ray tracing for real-time previews in Blender or Maya again, not just a spec sheet claim but an actual workflow boost. People often ask, can I actually game on this? The answer is yes, but with expectations set correctly. In a recent indie title, the frame rates hovered around 70 frames per second at 1080p with medium settings, which is smooth enough for an enjoyable experience. However, if you're looking to max out AAA titles at ultra settings, the 13-inch chassis and thermal envelope will throttle you after a while. So, for casual or indie gaming, the device holds its own. For hardcore esports or 4K gaming, you'll start feeling the limits. Battery life is where many laptops in this class stumble, and the ProArt PX13 is no different. The 73 were battery claims all-day usage, but real-world testing shows about 2 hours of intensive design work before you see a dip into the low battery warning, and roughly 5 hours if you stay on web browsing or light productivity. If your workflow involves long stretches away from a power outlet, you'll need to plan for a charger or an external power bank. On the other hand, the fast charging support reaching 50% in around 30 minutes helps mitigate that downside, especially if you can take short charging breaks between meetings. One of the hidden trade-offs here is the convertible nature of the device. The 360-degree hinge lets you flip the screen flat for tablet-style drawing, which is a genuine plus for artists using a stylus. However, the thin design means the keyboard travel is shallow, and you may feel a bit cramped typing long code blocks or essays. The backlit keyboard does help in dim environments, but the overall typing experience is more akin to a premium tablet than a traditional laptop. If you're someone who spends hours typing, you might prefer a larger chassis with a deeper key feel. Storage and memory are where the ProArt PX13 really shines. With 32 GB of LPDDR5X RAM, multitasking feels buttery. Have Photoshop, Illustrator, a web browser with dozens of tabs, and a background render engine all open, and the system won't hiccup. The 1 TB PCIe SSD is blazingly quick. File transfers that used to take minutes now happen in seconds. This is where the value starts to become evident beyond the headline specs. For creators who juggle large assets, think 4K video footage or high-resolution texture packs, this speed translates directly into less waiting time and more creative output. Who should buy this laptop? If you're a creative professional who needs color accuracy, AI-assisted performance, and a portable form factor that can double as a drawing tablet, the ProArt PX13 is a solid match. It also fits students in design or architecture programs who benefit from a high-resolution screen and decent GPU for coursework projects. The price point, while not cheap, is justified if those capabilities replace a separate tablet and a desktop workstation you'd otherwise need. Who should skip it? Anyone whose primary use case is heavy gaming at max settings, or anyone who relies on a long battery life for day-long fieldwork, might.